Hey, auto industry, we are here at NADA 2025 in New Orleans. Can you believe it's 2025? What just happened? I feel like we were just here. We're at the 700Credit booth. I'm with my pal Ken Hill. Ken, thanks so much for joining me.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Okay, so there are things you just don't think often about that are definitely an issue for car dealers and the public at large, and that is very much what you guys do at 700Credit, especially with identity verification, driver license verification. Tell me what you've noticed and why this is something that needs to be at the forefront.
Well, awareness is growing, right? And I think, for instance, the paper deal jacket is going to be a thing of the past, right. And so you got to get ahead of it, and an awareness of the benefits of a digital deal jacket, driver's license authentication, a tool to help fight fraud, right? So you want to get that driver's license, authenticate it, and get it into your digital deal jacket, and out of emails, out of texts between customers, right? So I think safeguarding information and thinking about your workflow and where do you have consumer information and how do we protect it?
Yeah, I think you guys are forward thinking about something that not often we think about, but in a world of increasing regulation and compliance and privacy, you're 1, 2, maybe 10 steps ahead of where all of us are. Especially, you have to lead. You're at the forefront.
Educate and lead awareness.
Speak to me about the compliance factor, because I don't think that's something that a lot of the dealer industry body at large has focused on. What are your thoughts around the compliancy for dealers?
I think it's a trickle-down effect, right? The bigger groups are looking at the safeguards regulation came out and said, right, anywhere you're capturing consumer information, you have to have a process to ensure you're safeguarding it, which means what are you doing with it? How are you keeping it safe? How are you discarding of it? So the whole making a photocopy of a driver's license, that's sort of tough, right, to safeguard.
But it still happens a lot.
50% of dealers are still making photocopies. So just continuing to educate them. So anywhere you're capturing consumer information in a dealership, you have to have a defined process of how you're safeguarding it, disposing. So think about all the different places you're capturing consumer information in a dealership: front desk, service, your websites, right? That's why a lot of these cookie regulations came out, in that you're accepting consumer information when somebody hops on your website. So to me, you really need someone to take charge, take the leadership role, and really audit, evaluate, list all the places we're taking, and what's our policy for each individual circumstance where we're capturing consumer information.
And I just have to think, as a business owner, do I really want to figure this all out on my own? And like you said, I mean, the idea that 700Credit has the ecosystem figured out seems like such just a no-brainer benefit to me.
Yeah, well, we have pieces figured out, right? We don't dive into service. I think one of the biggest points of exposure, right, is how are dealerships capturing driver's licenses, right? And how are they getting images into the deal jacket? That's the piece that we're focused on right now. And we sort of have a 1-2 punch, kill two birds with one stone, whatever you want to use, right? Looking at how you're capturing it, authenticating it, stopping fraud in your dealership, and then safeguarding that driver's license at the same time.
I can only imagine, I say this somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but I can only imagine you guys have so many experiences of people just driving away in vehicles because they were
hear some scary ones,
using somebody else's. So this idea of a digital deal jacket, talk to me about that environment. Is it encrypted? Is it how does that work for the dealer?
Well, I think I said paper deal jackets are going to be a thing of the past, right? So, but with a digital deal jacket, you're storing all the information around a deal in one location, encrypted files, and you can limit access, right? And so everyone's moving towards a digital deal jacket. That's what we've been focused on in 23, 24, 25, is integrating with those deal jackets so that we can place the licenses right in the deal jacket. We can place all our other compliance components into the deal jacket, right? A risk-based pricing letter that you gave to the consumer. You have to be able to prove you deliver that to the consumer. So if I place that in the deal jacket, right, that's got consumer-sensitive PII information. It's got their credit score on it, right? So you got to look at safeguarding all of that. and having one central location. Just think everything that's in that paper deal jacket, move it to that digital deal jacket. So and it's all right. It's all sorted by consumer, so it's all in one place. And
how does this look for the customer? Do they get a link? Is it how do they access their information? What does that look like from your perspective?
Well, it's typically in their DMS, right?
Okay.
From their DMS, they can click if they have the right privileges. We have integrations like into Route 1's digital deal jacket, right? Yep. So, you look up the consumer, hit the deal jacket button. That's if you have access. So,
yeah, super cool. It brings to the forefront how and you guys are much more into it than I probably will ever be, but the legislation around customer privacy is really starting to ramp up. Is that what's motivating your message about paper deal jackets being a thing of the past?
Well, the safeguards regulation was a government regulation. Depending on the administration, other administrations might put a bigger priority. We'll see with this administration what kind of priority they're going to put on it. But yes, I think the government is very worried about protecting the consumer, right? And the consumer is really exposed when they're doing purchasing a car with their information.
Regulations, compliancy, safeguarding customers' information, that is definitely what you ought to be thinking about. We're here at 700 Credit at NADA. Please stop by, check out how they are safeguarding the consumer and providing dealers with a regulatory compliant solution to tie into a digital deal jacket. Ken Hill, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you.